Nobody warns him about this part of depression. The moment he stopped fearing the thought and start feeling relief from it, that's when he realized something was wrong. This isn't a story about someone who wanted to disappear. It's a story about someone who wanted relief. Someone who tried everything they knew how to try. Someone who smiled so well that nobody noticed the cracks. This is the story of a boy who didn't want to die. He just wanted the pain to stop. From the outside, his life looked normal. Not perfect or extraordinary. Just normal enough to never raise concern. He showed up. He replied to messages. Eventually. He laughed at the right moments. He said, "I'm good," without hesitation. If you asked anyone who knew him, they would have said, "He's quiet, but he's fine. He keeps to himself. He's just stressed like everyone else." And that's how depression hides. Not as chaos or crying every day, but as functioning silence. He learned early how to blend in, how to become invisible without disappearing. Because when he did try to talk once, when he did hint that something felt wrong, the responses came quickly. Everyone feels like that sometimes. You're overthinking. You just need to be stronger. Other people have it worse. So he stopped talking. And when you stop talking long enough, you start believing that silence is safer. The pain didn't arrive all at once. It crept in slowly. First, it stole his excitement. Things that once mattered started feeling dull. Music sounded flatter. Food tasted quieter. Time moved heavier. Then it took his motivation. Getting out of bed became a negotiation. Simple tasks felt like climbing invisible mountains. And the worst part, he didn't know why. Nothing bad enough had happened, which made him feel guilty. If my life isn't terrible, why do I feel like this? That guilt became fuel for the pain. At night, his thoughts got louder. Every mistake he'd ever made lined up for review. Every awkward moment replayed in high definition. Every regret sharpened itself. His mind became a courtroom, and he was always the defendant. Sleep stopped being rest, it became escape. And waking up felt like being pulled back into a fight he didn't remember signing up for. People praised him for being strong. They didn't know the smile was armor. They didn't know how rehearsed it was, how automatic. He smiled because explaining felt impossible. He smiled because honesty scared people. He smiled because sadness made others uncomfortable. And slowly, he forgot how to stop. He became the listener, the dependable one. The guy who showed up for others while quietly falling apart. He told himself, just get through today. Then tomorrow came, and the promise reset. Over and over, until one day today felt unbearable. The thought didn't arrive dramatically. It wasn't loud, it was quiet. What if you didn't have to feel this anymore? That's what terrified him. Not the thought itself, but how calm it felt. No panic, no rush. Just relief at the idea of rest. And immediately, shame followed. Why would you think that? What kind of person thinks like this? He didn't want to die. He wanted the noise to stop, the heaviness to lift, the constant internal battle to end. But he had no language for that. So the thought stayed unspoken. Growing heavier with every passing day. This is where people get it wrong. They think suicidal thoughts mean someone wants to die. Most of the time, it means they want peace. They want quiet. They want rest. They want an end to the pain, not to life. But when pain lasts long enough, your brain starts offering desperate solutions. And when no one teaches you how to talk about it, you start believing you're alone. He told himself, if I disappear, I won't be a burden anymore. That lie felt convincing on the worst days, because pain lies, and it lies convincingly. He wished people understood this, that asking for help doesn't always look like crying. Sometimes it looks like withdrawing. Sometimes it looks like jokes. Sometimes it looks like silence. He wished people knew that depression isn't laziness, that it isn't weakness, that it isn't a lack of gratitude. It's a weight you can't see. And when you've carried it long enough, even standing feels heavy. Here's the truth he learned, and wished he learned earlier. Pain speaks in absolutes. It says, this will never end. You'll always feel this way. Nothing will change. But pain is a liar. Feelings are real, but they are not permanent. And surviving doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're still fighting, even when you're exhausted. If you're watching this, and something in this story feels familiar, I want you to hear this clearly. You don't want to die. You want relief, and that matters. The pain you feel is real, but it is not the final chapter of your story. You don't need to have the answers today. You don't need to be strong right now. You just need to stay. Life didn't suddenly become easy for him, but it became possible again, and sometimes that's enough. Enough to keep going. Enough to ask for help. Enough to believe tomorrow might feel different. He didn't want to die. He just wanted the pain to stop. And one day, it did. Not completely, not forever, but enough to remind him he was still here. If this story meant something to you, don't rush away. Sit with it. And if you feel comfortable, leave a comment. Not to explain, not to justify. Just a simple, I'm still here, because someone else reading it might need to see that. Subscribe if you want more stories that tell the truth, the quiet truth, the kind we don't say out loud enough. And if you're struggling right now, please remember, you are not weak. You are not broken. You are not alone. Stay.